I want to talk for a minute about this book, Dispensational Truth by Clarence Larkin. How many of you are familiar with this book? Does this mean anything? A couple of you, just a couple of you. This is one that people who know what they're looking for when they come to TAP are asking for this book. This is one that's getting a little maybe harder to find, though I looked it up. You can still buy it on Amazon in a paperback form. I'm not sure if the layout's quite the same, but it is still being printed in some forms. Clarence Larkin from Pennsylvania. He was born in Delaware County and ministered in Pennsylvania. He was born into an Episcopal family, but became a Baptist. And was a Baptist minister. Clarence Larkin went to school for engineering, and he was a mechanical engineer and did mechanical drawings and those type of things. Born in 1850, died about 100 years ago, 1926, 27, I believe. And so, it's an old book, a different era for sure. He was an engineer, very meticulous in his drawing, and God saved him and got him involved in the ministry, of course. But he began to write and was very effective in his writing. This particular book is unique because as he talks about dispensations, in his own words, in fact, let me read for you the very first part of the foreword of this book. I think it will give us some idea of what this book's about. The preparation and publication of this book is a wonderful story in divine leading. The author, and he's writing this himself, he's writing this in March 25th of 1920, so 105 years ago he wrote this. The author by profession was a mechanical engineer and an architect. When he entered the gospel ministry direct from business and without any previous theological training, at the age of 34, he believed he would have no further use for his skill as a draftsman. In fact, he sold all his professional books and appliances, except for some of his drawing instruments. His first charge was in a small town where he remained for 15 years. He was not premillennialist at the time of his ordination, but his study of the scriptures, aided by some of the books that he began to read, led him to adopt a premillennial view of the Word of God. So he began to make large colored wall charts on the prophetic truth for his own use in his pulpit when he preached. This led to his being invited to teach in connection with his pastoral work into 2 Bible institutes. And during that time, he published a number of his prophetic charts, which had a wide circulation. These led to the request that he publish a book illustrated with charts on prophetic truth. But it was not until the spring of 1915 that the Lord laid upon his heart to prepare this work called Dispensational Truth, or God's Plan and Purpose in the Ages. That's the dual title of this particular book. So he begins to go through the dispensations of the times past. He begins to talk about the future events, premillennialism, and things like that. And so he not only writes all of that, but he incorporates in it a lot of charts, all of which he hand drew, right? There was no computer to do this stuff back in the day. I'm just trying to show you a few. I know they're very, very detailed. They're almost hard to read because of the small print, just looking at it. But they are very detailed charts. Daniel, the vision that Nebuchadnezzar had of the statue and the different eras, Daniel's 70 weeks, all of those he put into a chart form, which was kind of the first time a lot of that had been done. And, here's a guy who was making these charts, using these charts. He didn't have PowerPoint, right? He didn't have screens and all that stuff to amplify it. He was just holding them up and using them and talking about them, and it was well received. And so all that got put into a book that is still widely used and sought after to this day because it was, one, very accurate, theologically accurate, and two, the detail in the charts and the way that he made them and things like that. It's a book that I would recommend. I don't have many copies of this at TAP, and if I did, I might not share them, to be honest with you. They're hard to find. They're really hard to get. This is one of those things that when I open a box of books at TAP, I'm like, oh, and I pull it out right away, and I hide it in the office. I'll be honest with you. And then I have it there so that it just doesn't randomly disappear one day from the front room at TAP. I want to make sure it gets into the hands of people who can really use it, who can really benefit from it. And so you can find it. You can find it on the internet, but if you go to a book sale and you find this, you have found a treasure, and I would recommend it. You can look up a lot of this stuff online. A lot of it's available online today. But Dispensational Truth by Clarence Larkin, very, very helpful book, very good book, one that has survived, I think, the test of time, and one that we would recommend not only at TAP, but as your pastor, I would recommend this. I think it's a great book. It sits on my shelves right behind my desk.